For months now, every time we travelled, whether we travelled around Europe and didn't even have a house to come back to, or travelling around Wales now that we do, I'd always have these moments where I'd suddenly think, oh, I just want to go home. It's made me completely question whether this life is actually meant for us. It's made me think, am I chasing the wrong dream? But over the past few days, I've actually realised something that completely changed the way I understand the feeling. And weirdly enough, it was my 2-year-old son who helped me see it. Hi, I'm Danielle and welcome to The Wildlight Way. This channel is where I share my journey of creating a slower, more intentional life through motherhood, nature, and learning to build a life that feels true, even when I don't have all the answers. Over the last few months, I've started noticing a pattern. It didn't matter where we were, whether we were parked beside mountains, hidden away in the forests by a beautiful lake, or even travelling through Europe. When I'd get stressed or overwhelmed or tired, I'd have a moment where I'd think I just wanted to go home. The strange thing was, sometimes we didn't even have a home. We were travelling full time, there was nowhere to go back to, and yet I'd still find myself saying, I want to go home. At first, I thought that meant something really important. I thought maybe it meant that this life wasn't what I really want. Maybe I was trying to force a dream that wasn't actually mine. So every time that feeling came up, I questioned everything. But recently, instead of immediately believing that thought, I started getting curious. Instead of asking, should I go home, I started asking, what do I actually need right now? And the answers were never, I want the house. They were things like, I need a shower, I need clean bedding, I need to stop smelling wet dogs, I need something comforting to eat, I need rest, I need quiet. One by one, I realised I wasn't asking for a different life, I was asking for comfort. Those are two completely different things. The funny thing is, cooking had actually become easier. I'd recently changed the kitchen setup in the van and it was working so much better. So it wasn't even that anymore. It was everything else. The practical little things. The things that slowly build up when you're living in a small space. And once I separated those needs, everything started to make so much more sense. Then something happened with Lucas. We'd had the loveliest morning. We'd been walking, collecting wild blackberries. The dogs were running around. Lucas was exploring everything. His little legs had walked so far that by the time we were heading back, he was exhausted. As we were walking, he looked up at me and quietly said, "Mummy, house now?" And I honestly smiled because I'd been asking myself the exact same thing for months. So instead of assuming what he meant, I asked him, "Do you want to go back to the house or do you just need a hug?" He stopped, thought about it, then smiled and said, "Oh, yeah, a cuddle." So I picked him up, gave him the biggest cuddle, held him close for a little while, and then I asked him again, "Do you still want to go back to the house? Mummy will take you home if you want." He looked at me, smiled, and simply said, "In the van now." So we went back to the van, he climbed into bed and fell straight to sleep for his nap. Later that day we did go home, not because we had given up, but simply because we needed practical things, more water, showers, a few bits from the house. When we pulled into the street, Lucas thought we had arrived at my nan's house. He always thinks if we park near houses, we're going to see Nanny Cow. That made me laugh. But after he realised we were actually home, something happened that completely caught me off guard. He wasn't happily playing with all of his toys. His favourite programme was on. I was sitting on the sofa, finally having a moment to relax. Then he suddenly walked over to the front door, turned around, looked at me and shouted, "Mummy, in van now." I laughed and asked him, "Do you want to sleep in the house tonight or the van?"
2 hours.
Without even thinking, he answered, "In van, in van."
2 hours.
Then he kept walking back and forth. He kept trying to pull me up, walking back to the door, saying, "In the van, in the van, in the van." I had to explain to him that we were staying in the house that night and that we'd go in the van tomorrow. Let's just say he wasn't very happy with my answer. He was telling me, "Just one more time and no more."
We've been home for
And that's
2
when
hours.
something clicked, not just about
I know you
Lucas,
wanna
but
go
about
see
me.
Nanny
Because
Cow,
all of
don't
this
you?
time I assumed that wanting to go home meant that I wanted
We're
the
not
house.
going in the
But every time I actually went home, I'd have the shower, the easy meal, the clean clothes, the comfortable bed, and after a little while I'd still feel like something was missing. Because it wasn't belonging I was finding, it was relief. And those are not the same thing. I think for most of my life, home became my escape. When life felt overwhelming, I'd go home. When people felt overwhelming, I'd go home. When I didn't know what to do, I'd go home. My nervous system learned that home meant relief. So now, even when I'm building a life I genuinely love, the moment I get tired or overwhelmed or uncomfortable, my first instinct still whispers, go home. Not because it's the right direction, but because it's an old pattern. And then Lucas mirrored the exact same thing back to me. He didn't actually want the house. He wanted connection. He wanted a cuddle. And once he'd had that, he knew exactly where he wanted to be. It made me wonder, how often do we think we need to change our whole lives when actually we just need someone to ask us, do you need to leave or do you just need a cuddle? Maybe for us adults that cuddle looks different. Maybe it's rest or food or shower. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's asking someone for help. But maybe the need underneath it is the same. Now, I'm not saying toddlers should make life decisions, and I'm definitely not saying every child would choose this life. Every child is different. But what this moment reminded me was something much deeper. Lucas wasn't choosing between a house and a van. He wasn't comparing bedrooms or toys or square footage. He was asking for the life we'd been living. The forest walks, the blackberries, the ducks, the lakes, the slow mornings, the adventures and the time together, a present moment. One of the biggest reasons I question myself so much is because I want to give Lucas a different childhood to the one I experienced. Not a perfect childhood, but a conscious one where he knows it's okay to slow down, to climb trees, to collect blackberries, to get muddy and to spend hours outside, to ask for a cuddle when life feels a bit too much. And maybe the biggest lesson wasn't for him at all. Maybe it was for me. Maybe he wasn't asking for the van. He was asking for the life we live when we're in it. And maybe that's what I've been searching for too. Thank you so much for watching. I'd genuinely love to know, have you ever realised that what you thought you needed wasn't actually what you needed at all? I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and would like to follow our journey of creating a slower, more intentional life through motherhood, nature and everything we're learning along the way, don't forget to like, subscribe and come along for the journey. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.